Okay, so one of the questions that you guys asked was marrying at a young age and what to expect and how to know when it's time for the next step in life. I'm assuming, Rena, you're talking about getting married, but I just got engaged. I'm only 23, so I figured Miss Pat would be the perfect person to answer this question because she got married at 22.
22.
And then Gary got married. He was 23, right?
Gary was 23.
Yeah. So I guess you will answer this. So what was it like marrying at a young age? Did people tell you guys, oh, you guys are too young, you should wait? You wait till maybe she's not the one, maybe he's not the one? Like, what was...
Well, I know. We got it from both sides. Gary's parents had only met me once or twice, really didn't know me or my family. So, of course, they were saying, well, you don't even know the girl. We don't know her people, you know. So he got it on his side of the family, and I got it on mine. But we knew that we were in love, and it wasn't abnormal for us to get married at that age because a lot of our friends were engaged and going down that path too. So we both had jobs and were responsible people. So we just decided to go ahead and get married, and we planned our whole wedding, paid for everything. I got my wedding ring at a pawn shop. Our wedding ring set at a pawn shop because I used to work there, so I knew the owner.
I used to work at a pawn shop.
Shelly's Pawn Shop on 38th and Western. And so we paid for everything. Gary's brother, who was a drug dealer at the time, he paid for the reception. So, of course, yeah, it was. I don't think I was scared. I think the thing that kind of terrified me was just the rift we had in the family by me marrying against like my mother's word. So that was the only thing. Like, we're gonna show them we're in love, and we're gonna. It was just me and you against the world. So that was our kind of thing.
So like a Romeo and Juliet type deal.
I guess so, but nobody died. But yeah, we were just like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna make it happen, and we're gonna show them.
Okay, I know the reason why. I don't know if you want to talk about it, but what was the reason why your mom was so against you guys getting married?
Well, I was raised Jehovah's Witness, and Gary was not a Jehovah's Witness, so my mom didn't want me to get married. So I went against her, and I married my husband, and she did not come to the wedding, and my family didn't come to the wedding. So yeah, but like that's what made me think like, or the both of us, it was like we were united. We loved each other regardless of what my mother said and what religion dictates. We're gonna love each other through everything. So that was the denominator through age, any fears we had. We were just gonna make it happen.
What other fears did you guys have in your relationship, or what other things did you guys want to prove to other people?
That was the biggest thing, because we had other friends that were getting married after us, so it was like we were kind of trailblazing at that point in our friend circle. So it was just to prove that we knew what we were doing. We were young, and we probably didn't know what we were doing, but the front, or the united front, will look like we knew what we were doing. And we had good friends to kind of help us and to vent, and I kind of learned to lean on Gary's mom as we got married and our relationship got better. Or our relationship developed.
Okay.
What are some things that you see in Keshana that resemble you? I'm asking a question. It's a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Because you don't have any more questions to ask her.
It was a second part to that question.
Okay, well, let me ask the first part to my question.
Let me answer it.
Okay, go ahead.
Let me do the second part. Okay. So the other part was what to expect marrying at a young age, and how do you know when you're ready to take that next step?
I think only you know. Only you know. And the first step was you said I do. I mean, you said yes when he got on. So that's you agreeing. And if there were any doubts, then right after that, if it was any doubts, you would have voiced your opinion, I would assume. That, hey, I was just caught up and I didn't. But once you say, yes, I will, yeah, yes, I'll take this ring and I want to get married to you. And then I don't know if I immediately went into planning mode, but what was your question?
Oh, what to expect.
Oh, what to expect. We didn't know what to expect. We just wanted to secure a place to stay. So I had a friend who owned, he was a Jehovah's Witness. And I told him I wanted to get my own place, kind of lied or didn't divulge all the information. I didn't tell him that Gary would be coming with me.
Moving in.
So we lived in sin for 6 months, and then we got married. So that was kind of like, I don't want to live in sin like this. I shouldn't be doing this. So that kind of made me like, we got to hurry up and get married. So in exactly 6 months, I was walking down the aisle, but didn't know what to expect, but just wanted to get life going and wanted to just kind of learn him, because we lived in sin for 6 months. So the adjustment was, he slept on the same side of the bed that I like sleeping on. So I went from sharing a bed with my little sister Gwen, and I slept on the left side of the bed, and then he slept on the left side of the bed. And so we would fight to get to the left side every night, and then of course he would win. But it kind of worked out because we lived right in the heart of like South Central, off of Crenshaw, 63rd and 11th Avenue, and there was a big drug house complex, a dope dealer. He lived there, and on Gary's side of the bed was a window, so he really wanted to sleep next to the window, and I slept next to for protection to the door. But it was hard for me to not sleep, so for years I would sleep with like right next to him with my thigh over his back, because I was so trained to sleep that way.
Yeah.
And then over the years I had to learn, but we went through a lot of adjustment. Like that was one major thing, which side of the bed to sleep on, but spending, shopping, and just went from thinking about me, and I had to think about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember one day, I don't think we were even married, and we had one car, and I lived down the street, not too far, but it was probably 8 or 9 bus stops, and I didn't want to catch the bus, but I had to because he was working in Burbank. And so I'm sitting on the bus stop, and I see my friend from high school, a football player friend of Gary's.
So it's a guy friend.
A guy friend, and his name is Chris. And Chris is like, hey, Pat, where you going? I go, I'm going home. He goes like, you want to ride? I'm like, sure. Just thinking about me.
Yeah.
And so he gave me a ride home, and got in the house. And Chris, I think I invited him in for some water or something like that. I don't know. But Gary called. I was like, oh, Chris is here. Chris who? Chris Darrington. What's he doing there? He gave me a ride home. And so he's like, what's up, Chris? Da, 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 da. All right, I need to talk to my wife. Da, 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 da. Or I need to talk to Pat. And I said, thanks, Chris. He left. No strings. He didn't try nothing. He was a gentleman. We talked about, we just got caught up. On the way home, it was nothing. And Gary just went off on me. And he was like, you don't bring another man in this house, especially if we're in a committed relationship. What if he tried something? And I was just thinking about me.
Right.
I didn't think about him. And I didn't put the shoe on the other foot. So if it was some woman that dropped him and I called and that woman was there, I didn't think like that. Yeah. So I had to stop thinking singular and think plural.
You listening?
Nope.
Yes, you are.
I'm still gonna think singular, because I got my friends.
Anywho, so you can answer your question. Ask your question.
I don't even know what my question was. It was, what traits do you see in Keshana that you had as a new fiance and some fears or whatever?
It's Kylie.
I I see that. You know how to cook, and you like to cook.
Yeah.
I had to kind of teach myself how to cook because I was like a fast food girl. So when we got married, we would eat tacos, burritos, fried chicken, rice-a-roni boxes. So our
That sounds pretty good, actually.
but I was just like
It was every night.
yeah. I can't remember if I cooked every night, but it was like fast food. It wasn't.
That's what I mean, like your fast food every night.
Yeah. So I like that you can cook. So that's something like you don't mind cooking for him. I didn't mind cooking for Gary. I wasn't that creative. I didn't sew or anything, but I took home ec, and having a nice place for Gary to come home to was important to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I see that you kind of cater to Gary in that way. So, and two, you're not, or three, you're not like that girl that's like, I gotta have this, I gotta have that, or I gotta get my hair done every 3 days. You're not that type of person, and I wasn't that type of person either.
She totally is that person.
No, I'm not.
She get her hair done every 3 days?
Yeah, I get my hair done every 3 days.
What did you say
I'd be
today?
looking a hot mess.
She's trying to change her hairstyle. It would be like every 5
No,
minutes.
she
I
changed
changes
her
my
hair,
hairstyle.
but she's not. She does it herself.
Yeah.
She's not trying to go to every
Beautician.
Beverly Hills place to get her hair done and
Exactly.
spend $5,000 on a wig or whatever. She's not that person.
She's tried it before.
No, I haven't.
Okay, next.
So I guess, I don't know if Gary has any more questions, but I have another one. So what type of advice do you have for other young couples who are interested or have been talking about getting married at the age that they're at, let's say in the young 20s, I guess younger than 25? What advice do you have for them getting married at a young age and the benefit of getting married at a young age?
I think the benefit is if you love each other. Oh, I see myself saying this to Kristen. I don't want to.
Okay, so imagine you talking to your daughter.
I don't know if you guys are sure this is something you want to do, and if you're really compatible, and it seems to. I'm saying all the things that my mother was probably telling me not to do, because I'm thinking about Kristen. I'm not thinking about Gary. I'm thinking about Kristen. So if I'm talking to Kristen, I would just really just hope that the man that she picks is similar to her dad, and that he has great traits like her dad, and is someone that's gonna love her for who she is and who she wants to be, and who will help her get there, and she help him that way, where they're equally
Yoked.
And I'm not saying yoked in religion, because me and Gary weren't equally yoked in religion, but in the mindset, where he comes from a good family, she comes from a good family. He has one thing we both have, were great examples of married parents. So his parents were married before his dad passed away, 31, 32 years. And before my dad passed away, they were in the 30s too. So we come from married people. So we both had examples, but and going on the other question, what are some of the benefits? Is like, or once you get married, you will have to adjust, because you're bringing your upbringing to the table, and Gary's bringing his upbringing to the table. So I didn't necessarily want to do everything my mother and father were. They were an example for me, and Gary's to him. But we just said, well, we're going to do it this way, or we want to do it this way, and make it our own. So like when we first started having kids, I am a yeller. When I say that, it's like, Gary! Time for breakfast!
I'm a yeller too.
And Big Gary be like, why are you yelling? So they didn't do that. We did that in our house. Boy, you better get down from that thing. We were vocal.
Yeah.
So my house was really loud. I can remember my mother standing on the porch, us playing on the street and she yell, and we hear her and we come a running. So we're vocal, not vocal because I don't use a lot of words, but when I use them, they're high.
Yeah.
So loud. We were loud people. And so Gary was different. So we just decided, okay, we're going to do this different. So one thing he wanted to do, and if you talk to him, he'll say his dad was strict. So sometimes he would just, his dad was strict when he was small.
Mm-hmm.
All boys, and I didn't see that person. I saw the elder dad. I didn't see that young, stern father that he had, but he didn't play. And so one thing Gary wanted to do with our kids was like, give them choices. Not, boy, you're going to sit here and eat this oatmeal, or you're not going to go to bed. You got to sit here.
Even though you did that.
I didn't do that.
Yes, you did.
Did you eat it?
Yes.
Okay, good. But one thing we worked at, maybe I didn't get there because it was important to him, not me.
Yeah.
Was to give them choices. So I learned to say, do you want oatmeal or you want eggs? Because when he was growing up, he didn't like eggs. So it had to be waffles, everything but protein. And it was like just all carbohydrates. So anyway, I had to compromise and try to give my kids choices instead of say, boom, boom, boom.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing we decided to work on. Wasn't that good all the time, but when you're raising kids, it's like on-the-job training.
You put it that way, it is, huh?
Yeah. There's no handbook, no book when you're raising kids and when you get married. Because, so we had to merge our experiences in our households and figure out how we were going to do this. So we talked about a lot, and we, just decided to just do what worked for us. Yeah.
Do you have any other questions?
Nope.
I don't either.
So then you end it.
Thank you, Miss Pat,
You're welcome.
for taking time out your day.
Yes.
I'll let you get back to doing
Folding
you.
clothes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye. Supposed to say cut.
And cut. And print. Beautiful, guys.